Good morning. This is Lisa with Old Arc at Yarnery, and I'm here with our next installment of our Building in Color class. We've been doing this all year and making really great looking panels with all kinds of new color work techniques we're learning. So this month, we're going to learn the butterfly stitch, which is a lot of fun. It involves all three colors that you're using. For those of you that are using more than three colors, just pick the ones you want. I would just make sure you pick, be mindful, color A in this example here is the white, and that's what's going to form the little mesh pattern over the top. So you want to make sure that will show up the way you want it to against your background colors, whichever ones you choose. So here is what my sample looks like so far. I really like it. I've got some great tips for you, so let's get started. You're going to cast on 29 stitches using your color A, and then you're going to start on the pattern on row 1. It is a 12 row repeat. As always, I've got my little post-it note here that I'm keeping track. I've done 2 repeats so far, and each repeat is approximately 1 inch for me, so I will be repeating about 36 times. This is 2 repeats so far. All right, now because of you're using all 3 colors, you're going to have to figure out a way to manage those 3 colors. And as we found on some of the other panels, when you're managing 2, it's a lot easier to turn the right directions to keep the colors from being tangled. When you're managing 3, it's a little more challenging. What I found is that if I'm just sitting at home, it's easier for me to take the balls out of my bag and set them on the counter, and that way I can just move the balls around and untangle them each time that I use a new color and cross over at the beginning of the side to make it look neat going up the edges. Don't worry too much about those edges though, because they're going to be hidden in the seam when we put our panels together. All right, so I am getting ready to use color A on row 1. My color A is my white, and the odd numbers are wrong side rows. Now, you'll notice in the pattern that you'll see slip with yarn and back, SWIB. And typically when you're slipping to keep your float when you slip the stitches on the wrong side of the work. What's different in this one is we want those floats on the right side of the work, because we're then going to use them to make that butterfly stitch. So here we go. We will do color A, row 1. So I'm going to purl 1. I'm going to start Continental. I'll show you English style as well. And I'm going to knit 3. And now I come to that slip 3 with yarn in back. So I'm going to keep the yarn in the back because that's the right side of my work. And I'm just going to slip 3, and I'm slipping them purlwise because I don't want to twist them. So I'm just moving them from one needle to the other with the yarn in back. Now this is where it gets a little interesting. I want that float to be nice and loose because we're going to be pulling that to make the butterfly stitch. So just like in regular color work, if you've done it before, if you haven't, then on the right hand needle, you want to stretch your stitches apart so that you have enough float there with your color A yarn. And then we're going to knit 3 after this. So we slip 3 with yarn in back and then knit 3. What I like to do Continental style is I will stick my finger right here to help keep that from pulling up, and then I knit. So you see it's holding that float for me. And then after I take that first stitch off, then I let my finger out and go ahead and knit the other 2. What that's done is it's created a nice loose float there for me. You see if I stretch it out, it goes across, but just normal, it's got a little bit of slack in it, and that's what I want. So now we're going to repeat that all the way across to the last stitch. So I'm going to slip 3 with the yarn in back. I don't worry about the float while I'm slipping. It's when I go to start knitting again. I'm going to stretch these stitches out, and I'm going to stick my finger right there, and I'm going to knit. And I'll take my finger out and knit the other 2. So slip 3 with yarn in back. Stretch out the stitches, put my finger in, and knit 3. There we go. And you should do this all the way until you have 1 stitch left, and that last one you're going to purl. So slip 3, stretch out the stitches, put my finger in there, and knit 3. And I have 1 stitch left, and according to the pattern, row 1, I purl that last stitch. Now I'm going to turn, and I'm going to use color B, and I'm going to knit, and then color B, I'm going to purl 4 and then do a slip 3 with yarn and back, purl 3. The color A is the only one that you're knitting on the wrong side when you're slipping. The rest of them you're purling. So here's my right side of my work after row 1. And so you can see those floats hanging out on the top. So now I'm gonna just knit color B for row 2, and then I'll come back and do row 3 with you. Okay, here we are getting ready to start row 3. We're using color B, which for me is pink. We've just done row 2, which was just to knit. So I knit straight across, turned around, and now we're gonna use the same color for row 3. You'll notice in the pattern what we're doing is we're going up and back with one color, up and back with another color, up and back with the third color, and so forth. All right, so this row I'm gonna show you English style. So we're gonna start with purl, and we're going to row 3, purl 4. So we will purl 4, got my yarn in front. Let me do this so my ball isn't inside the needle. All right, so we're gonna purl 4, 2, 3, and 4. And now we're going to start our repeat. It's going to go across the row. So our repeat now is slip 3 with yarn and back and purl 3. So I'm going to move my yarn to the back, and I'm going to slip 3, again slipping them purlwise so I don't twist the stitches. And now we're going to purl 3. Sorry, yes, slip 3 with yarn and back, purl 3. So now to purl, I need to bring my yarn forward. Now this is where I want to stretch those stitches out on the right hand needle. So there's my pink float. Do you see it back there? Now you could put your finger in here, but it's going to make it a little awkward in trying to hold the yarn to purl. So what I like to do English style is I just am mindful of that loop, and I'm going to insert my needle to purl the first stitch. And as I purl that first stitch, I'm not pulling too tightly so that it leaves a little bit of slack there for me. Again, with these stretched out. And so I will go ahead and complete that first purl stitch, being mindful of the float, and now continue the other 2 purls. And that's our repeat across this row. So now I'm going to move the yarn to the back so I can slip 3 with yarn and back, slip them purlwise, and I'll bring the yarn to the front to purl. I'm going to insert my needle. I'm going to stretch these stitches out so that float's nice and long. Do the first purl not very tightly so that I don't pull up that slack. And now do the other 2 purls. Now there is also a chart. Here we go, to the back to slip 3. Right now I'm following the written instructions at the moment, but there's also a chart. So on the next set of colors where we're using color C, I will look at the chart with you. So again, completing that first purl without tightening up my slack, and then doing the other 2. Now we're going to do this until we get to the last stitch, and then we will purl 1. Purl 3, yarn to the back, slip 3 with yarn and back, bring the yarn forward, insert my needle, stretch those stitches out, complete my purl without pulling up that slack, and now purl the other 2. And you do that all the way to the end, and then just purl 1. All right, then row 4, we're just going to knit with color C, and row 5, we'll come back and look at that again. Okay, I've just completed row 4, which is using color C knit. Let me catch up on my little sheet here. And so now color 5 is going to be the wrong side row. We're going to slip with the yarn and back again. But before I turn around, I just wanted to show you, here are the floats so far of color A and color B. You see I'm just hanging out there on the right side of the work, and that looks like something's wrong. But pretty soon we're going to do something with those that's going to create this fun design on the piece of fabric. So right now we're going to flip around, and we're going to do row 5, and I want to look at the chart for just a minute. So on the chart, as our other charts, the wrong side rows start on the left side here, and the numbers are on the left. And the right side rows start on the right with the numbers on the right. So that's how you know the direction to read that row. Row 5 is showing color C, which is depicted in brown, and it shows that you are on the wrong side, a stitch without, a square without any symbol in it. On the wrong side is purled, and on the right side is knit. So we're on a wrong side row. There's no symbol in that square, so it's going to be a purl, and it is brown, so it's color C. So we've got 4 purls with color C, and then we have 3 stitches with this little symbol in it, with a V with the line under it. The V with the line under it is the slip one with the yarn in back. It's always done on the wrong side, so that's why there's not a right side depiction here. So we're going to purl 4, slip 3 with the yarn in back, and then purl 3. These dark lines here indicate our repeat. So slip 3 with yarn in back and purl 3, slip 3 with yarn in back, purl 3, and you're going to do that all the way across until the last stitch, and you're going to purl it. So that's how you work the charts in these patterns. You'll see up on this next row 6, we get to do the butterfly stitch. See the square with the little loop-de-loos on the corners? That's the butterfly stitch done on the right-hand side. But that's on row 6. Right now we're doing row 5. So let's go ahead and do row 5 together. We will purl 4. So I will get that going. This is going to be pretty straightforward. As you get this down, I think you're probably not going to need to look at the directions very often throughout this panel because it's pretty easy to memorize. Purl 4, and I'm going to slip 3 with the yarn in back. Again, I'm back to Continental style right now, so my yarn's in back. I'm slipping 3. I'm going to insert to purl. Hang on just a minute. Let me get this. I'm going to stretch that out. I'm going to put my finger in, bring the yarn forward, and insert to purl, and I've got my finger back there, keeping that slack there, and I'm going to purl 3. Just like I did on the other row, row 1, I think it was. All right, now I'm going to, that was purl 3, so I'm going to slip 3 with the yarn in back. Now, if you find that when you get to the end, you don't have one left, don't panic. Just, you've only got 29 stitches to deal with. So look back and see where you've made the mistake, tink back and fix it. Not a problem. I've done that a couple of times. Not to worry. This is one of those cases where you're glad you only have 29 stitches. It's not a very wide panel, so we don't have a long ways to go. And because of that, I don't find it necessary to put markers in between each repeat. Sometimes on a complicated pattern, I will use markers at the end of every repeat, but this is just a 6-stitch repeat across 29 stitches, so I didn't find it necessary, but if you want to do that, you absolutely can do it. Slip 3, stretch the stitches out, bring the yarn forward to purl, purl 3, and I'm down to the last stitch, and it tells me I should purl 1, so I will do that, and that is row 5. I'll mark that off. Okay, row 6. Row 6, we're going back to color A, and we're going to do the butterfly stitch, so let me show you that. Let me get my color A brought up here. This is where I'm rearranging my balls of yarn so that I make sure nothing is tangled up. All right, color A, row 6. So using color A, I'm going to knit 5, and then I'm going to do the butterfly stitch. So let's look at that together. I'll do one with Continental style, and then I'll switch over to English style. So knit 5. Again, if you're reading the chart, you're starting row 6 on the right-hand side, and it shows you that you start with 5 stitches with no symbol in there, and it's a white square, so it's color A, and on the right side, it's knitting with no symbol. 5. All right, now the butterfly stitch. So what we're going to do for the butterfly stitch is we're going to reach our needle down, and we're going to grab all 3 of these floats, just like that. You don't want to pierce the yarn. You're just grabbing them on top of your needle, and then you're going to knit this next stitch, pulling that down through all 3 of those floats and letting the stitch off. And you see how that pulls those floats up? That's why we want that slack there, because it's got to pull up and we don't want it pinching the fabric together. Okay, so, and after the butterfly stitch, then we're going, and that's indicated in the written instructions as BF, and they're going to repeat from the start. So we're going to knit 5 again and do the butterfly stitch. So here we go, knit 5. Now remember, doing the butterfly stitch does not count as one of the 5. So here's my butterfly stitch where it's pinching that up to the top, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I'm going to do a butterfly stitch again. So I'm going to reach down from the front, starting at the bottom, and I'm going to pick up all 3 of those floats, knit the next stitch, pulling that down through all of those and letting it off. That's the butterfly stitch. Okay, let's switch to English style. So now we're going to knit 5. And this is our repeat, knit 5 butterfly stitch. And if you get interrupted or you lose count, you can always just look back. Okay, there's my butterfly stitch, pulling those floats up. 1, 2, 3, 4, I have 1 more. All right, butterfly stitch. I'm gonna reach down, starting at the bottom, and I'm gonna go under all those floats without catching any yarn. piercing any yarn. It's just catching those loose floats. Go into the next stitch and knit it. And this is just a little bit tricky. You just have to bring that down with the tip through all of those. And then let that stitch off the needle. Don't forget that part. That finishes the stitch. And then knit 5. 3, 4, and 5. And we're going to do another butterfly stitch. So we'll reach down, grab all 3 of the floats, go into the next stitch to knit, wrap the yarn, and pull the yarn through the stitch on the needle and through all 3 of those floats, and then let the stitch off the needle. And then at the very end of row 6, it says you're going to knit 5. I have 5 left, so that's good news. Means we're on track, so I will just knit those 5 stitches. And that's row 6. Now row 6 and row 12 are where you do the butterfly stitch. The rest of the rows are simply knitting and slipping it with yarn in back, or purling and slipping with yarn in back, whatever the pattern indicates. So here's after we've completed that butterfly stitch row. So it makes these nice diamond patterns because it just pulled all 3 of those floats up that we had made all during these rows. It pulled the floats up. Now, rows 7 through 12 are going to essentially be the same thing you've been doing. 7 and 8 are using, 7 is using color A. So you're going to go across the wrong side. You're going to purl, slip with yarn in back, knit 3, slip with yarn in back all the way across. Then color B, you're going to knit. Row 9, you're going to purl and slip with yarn in back, purl all the way across. 10 with color C, you're going to knit. 11 with C, you're going to purl, slip with yarn in back, purl all the way. And 12, you're going to use color A and you're going to do the butterfly stitch just like we've been doing. Now you might think, well, 7 through 12 seem to be just a repeat of 1 through 6. And they are, except they're offsetting it a little bit so that your butterfly stitches are not stacking all up on top of each other, but they're being offset to make these diamonds. So for instance, row 1 with color A, you're purling 1 and then knit 3, slip 1 with yarn and back all the way across. Row 7, you're using color A, you're purling 1, slip 3 with yarn and back, and then your repeat is knit 3, slip 3, knit 3, slip 3. Where the repeat on row 1 is slip 3, knit 3, slip 3, knit 3. You see the difference? It's just flipped so that it alternates those butterfly stitches so it forms this diamond pattern. So you're going to continue doing that all the way through. On my little sheet here, I've just circled row 6 and row 12 because I know that's where the butterfly stitches happen. And then other than that, I'm just doing the knit slip all the way across the way it indicates with the different colors. You're going to work those 12 rows until your panel measures about 36 inches or however long you want it, but you need to end after a butterfly stitch row. So your last row needs to be either row 6 or row 12, and then you're going to bind off with color A, which for me is my white. And then your bind off and your cast on edge will match color wise because this was the cast on with color A, and the bind off all the way up here will be with color A as well. I hope that works for you. I can't wait to see the colors you choose for yours, and I will look forward to seeing you next time. As always, if you have any questions or problems, please email me or come to Help Desk. I'd love to help you out. My goal is to make you successful. Thanks. Happy knitting. Bye-bye.